You're live.
All right, cool. Talk louder than that, bud. Hi guys. No, I'm just kidding. Hi guys. So this, in case you're wondering about the thumbnail, like what's going on, well, I am going to be talking about something that I was diagnosed with that not a lot of people know about me. And I'm going to be kind of talking about some of the pros and cons of what I have. And you guys are free to ask questions about it. And I have my mom here today to help kind of figure out what those questions are going to be. And I'll try and answer whatever I can about, well, should I tell them? Yeah. Okay. When I was 3, I was diagnosed with autism. Now, a lot of people tell me, you have autism? Like, you
have a super
you
chat.
have a super chat.
The Rafael channel.
Another super chat.
And
Thank you so
Lemon.
much.
And Lemon 226.
226. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Thank you. That's so nice of you guys.
Don't interrupt me.
Sweeties.
No, I'm kidding.
No.
I'm just kidding.
So sweet.
It is. It's really nice. I really appreciate it. So I have autism. A lot of people, when I tell them, they're like, first thing they say is like, how do you have autism? You don't seem like it. And it's because it's very, there's a wide spectrum. It's known as a spectrum. It's a super varied spectrum on like abilities. Yes, thank you. And I'm on the higher functioning part of the spectrum. There we go. And I, excuse me, I was diagnosed again. I was tested again when I was in junior high and came back positive. So it is guaranteed I have autism. And
You're born with it.
I was born with
it. You can't get rid of it.
Super chat. Another super chat.
Another super chat.
Lemon
Thank you so much.
226. Oh, and he says, I have autism.
Oh, wow. How many other people
Comment
either
below.
have,
Who's on the spectrum?
or do you know anybody in the spectrum?
Or do you know anybody on the spectrum?
You're a cute family, Marita Place.
So now's your chance to let them.
Ask away.
Yeah. I mean, if you've got some questions for me or for Ethan about what it's like to have autism or live with somebody with autism, this is your chance to ask. And we have Karla here.
Hi guys.
One of his best friends. If you want to ask her as a friend what she's experienced, how Ethan's different. But she's going to help us with
the questions.
With the questions.
Yeah, some kids were really cute and were asking, is Karla there? I hear Karla.
And
Hi guys.
I apologize. We probably won't be able to get to every question because I want to keep this down to about 15 minutes. But we'll try and get to as much as we can.
And
thank you so much. You are so sweet.
One. So the Rafael channel.
I have autism.
That's awesome. I have autism and so too. It's crazy.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
That's awesome.
We have several people. Lots of people are on the spectrum, and people don't realize it. It's nothing to be.
It's surprisingly
embarrassed about. Yeah, it's very common. And it's just a different experience it's different for everybody. So
Raylan is saying, I know a girl from my school who has autism. So just like you're saying, Mara, people know either they have it or they have a friend or somebody close that has autism. But somebody is asking, what is it like? Darian is asking that.
So why don't you tell them what it's like for you and how it might be different for other people that don't have autism?
Okay. Well, there's so many different things, and it's different for everyone. It completely depends on the person who's on the spectrum. Everybody on the spectrum is different, which I think is actually kind of cool. The way it's different for me is a lot of the things, it is very common. There are a lot of common things that come with autism that people will struggle with when they're on the spectrum. Typically what I suffer from is ADHD. Excuse me. I have an anxiety disorder that I actually currently take pills for. I'm so phlegmy this morning. That's also a diagnosis. No, I take a lot of things literally, so I kind of have trouble with communication. I'm not always exactly sure what people mean when they say things, and it's even though it's like common knowledge, and I'm like, what? I'm incredibly sensitive, both like emotionally and physically. I'm physically sensitive to almost anything. So you could barely touch me and I would be able to feel it. Same thing with taste. I can easily sense taste. Smell, same thing goes with smell. Same thing goes with spice. I'm very sensitive to that. That's why I can't do a lot of spicy stuff. And that's sound. I'm very sensitive. Basically, all the senses I have are just super, super heightened. But same thing goes with sight too. I feel like I can see really well.
So Shazia Sadik is asking, is it hard? Would you say it's hard?
In some ways, I honestly think it's balanced out. There are a lot of things that I think are really awesome that come with autism that I kind of like that I prefer having rather than not having. And then there are things that comes with autism that I prefer I don't have, like the things I suffer from. I always feel like it's kind of balanced out.
What are some of the things that you think are cool about having autism that make you different, that you like?
It's the fact that people on the spectrum typically are very, very passionate about something. They'll put their mind to it. They will eat, sleep, and breathe it. It's all they think about constantly. They'll dream about it, and when you talk to them, they're going to bring it up, and that's what they're going to be talking about all the time. And it's something they're going to be very passionate about. They'll study it, and they'll know everything about it. They'll have everything there is to need that you need to know about it. And it becomes a complete passion for them, which I absolutely love. I always love that when someone has a passion, because it gives them a reason to wake up in the morning. It gives them a reason to live every day to the fullest and do what they can to possibly make it a passion that they'll do for the rest of their lives possibly and make a job out of it. It's just something that I absolutely love about autism.
It can make it a little harder for
other people,
and to make friends, because oftentimes people when he has a form of autism called Asperger's, those passions are foremost in his head, and that's the things he wants to spend his time doing when he has free time. For him, he's got a few of them, but like right now, one of the biggest ones is the study of reptiles and amphibians, and he likes to go herping, and which is basically going and finding things like snakes and lizards in the wild. That's mostly what he studies, watches YouTube videos on it, loves it, likes it, and that's what he wants to do if he ever gets with friends, and that's what he talks about. Well, not everybody likes snakes, and not everybody wants to go on car lists with the knot in your head.
Not everybody wants to go and get kind of all messy.
And and he doesn't have much of a desire to do a lot of the traditional things that maybe teenagers would want to do,
like video games.
He doesn't play video games, and so it's kind of harder sometimes to connect with peers and make friends because they don't always kind of gel with the same things.
Gaming with Samuel is saying, I'm wearing the same thing as Ethan. And Abby, what is it that you're wearing?
Ninja Kids?
Oh, yeah, Ninja Kids shirt. And Abby, she has been, I don't know if it's Abby or Abhay, but she's been asking a lot, how did Taekwondo help you with autism? That is a good question.
It helped me get friends. It helped me, it basically forced me to socialize with other beings, and that basically gave me more experience, more practice in talking to other people and how to communicate and socialize with people, and I gained friends from it. To this day I have a friend who I consider one of my best friends, and I've known him for years, and I knew him from martial arts.
It also did some things too. It forced him to be put into what he would consider very uncomfortable situations and practice it so that he could just, work better within any environment he came into. For instance, when you go to karate tournaments or you're in a karate class, people are yelling loudly a lot. A karate tournament is a loud place, and for somebody super sensitive to loud noises, that is a really hard thing for them. And for him to be forced into those things more often, he learned to cope much better, and he can go into crowd, loud places more often now because he's practiced it through karate. He had to learn how to wear a cup, for instance, to do sparring. It was so uncomfortable for him. He could only wear it for 30 seconds at a time, and then we would practice for 2 minutes and then 5 minutes. It took him 2 weeks before he could actually go to class and spar for the first time, of practicing wearing a cup because it was a sensation that was so hard and uncomfortable. So he's been forced through martial arts to learn some things that have helped him just sort of integrate in the world in general.
Oh, super chat, guys.
Thank you.
The super chat for $10.
Wow.
Scroll up so we can see who that is.
Well, if I click on it right there,
Oh,
there
there
it
it
is. Thanks, Ethan, for all you do makes all the difference. Kevin
Thank
Woodward.
you so much, Kevin.
Kevin, I recognize you from Facebook. I have
I did
seen you
too.
on
Yeah.
Facebook.
He's been so.
Thank you so
Kevin's
much,
been an-
Kevin.
Yep, Kevin's
That's
been an
great.
amazing supporter
Thank you
of
so
Ethan's
much.
for many, many years, and we sure
Love this
appreciate
kid.
him. He always has really amazing messages about trying to help support people and just feeling confident and not taking bullying. And if you need some positive messages, go follow this gentleman on all social media. His name's Kevin Woodward.
And Abhay, I'm sorry, I didn't know that you were a boy. I said Abby, and he's like, I'm a boy. Now, somebody is asking, what is autism? Because a lot of kids are saying either that they have it, that they know people that they do. But you hear autism so much, but what is it?
That's a good question. I want to get into that, but I want to continue the conversation that we had that Mom was speaking before, and then I'll answer that question right away. Okay? So don't go away. The way I see it.
The Rafael channel.
Sorry.
Thank you, the Rafael channel.
Thank you so much.
It says, do any of the ninja kids have autism? Remember, guys, when there's a super chat, we will ask your question.
Yes.
And so, and the Rafael channel is asking if any of the ninja kids have autism.
Yeah, one.
that we know of, it's just Ethan.
That we know. Yep.
I don't think any of that. I mean,
Great question, though.
I think
Mhm.
it'd be interesting to test them, but I don't know. They've never been tested. So
I
never
don't think they
know.
don't tend to display any of the
Mhm.
typical.
Ooh, Darian says, do you try to hide it? That's a good one. Do you try to hide it?
I
Sometimes.
tried it. I tried it. I did.
Sometimes.
When?
When you're
Mhm.
feeling a lot of anxiety over things, you don't really try and not have other people aware that you're feeling very anxious and nervous about stuff.
I feel like I embrace it. When I'm in the middle of class and I feel pain, I literally bang my desk so people know I'm going through pain. They're like, "You all right?" I'm like, "Braces, braces," which are now off, by the way, thankfully.
Yeah, show us your teeth without braces.
Okay, so
I'm not gonna get up close.
let's not lose fact that
Okay,
somebody asked
so
what
then-
autism is, and this is what.
Well,
this
I
is
was
about,
gonna
so-
I was gonna elaborate on the passions thing.
Okay.
Well, hurry up.
Continue.
We're already at
I
15
know.
minutes.
So, I feel like the way I see it is when someone on the spectrum gains a passion, almost whatever that passion is, I feel like it comes with something that will make them uncomfortable. For example, like I said, I'm really, really sensitive physically. And so when I go into the wild, I feel a lot of branches, brushes,
Good point.
bugs all over me constantly. But eventually, because of that passion and the goal, and my mind is kind of focused on trying to find a snake, it eventually allows you to get used to it, and eventually you can cope with those physical things that I had to deal with. So I feel like almost no matter what passion you might pursue, if you're on the spectrum, it may come with some things that you'll have to overcome that you may struggle with, which is good for you.
Well said.
Anyway, what is autism? Love the question.
really, really good question.
It's basically something you're born with. It is almost a...
Can I help with this one?
Yes, please.
So one of the things that happens when you're tested, it's a very thorough test that can take a long time, and they don't typically just test the person who's in question as to whether or not they have autism. Oftentimes when there are teachers, certainly the parents are also questioned. There's given a questionnaire, and they make a diagnosis from a whole bunch of information that they've tested and talked with and observed with the individual in question, as well as parents and teachers. And that's how they collectively can determine whether or not this person is probably on the spectrum. There are a number of different things that they look for. But again, the spectrum is very wide and different people experience different things. Though there certainly sensitivity.
Oh, there was a super
Another
chat
super chat?
from Jim Andrews, and it says thank you for $9.99.
Thank you.
Thank
dude.
you,
Thank
Jim
you.
Andrews,
That's
so much.
Nice, so
That's
sweet.
awesome.
Means a lot. Thank you for the support.
I love the pair.
That's
That's really
so
great.
cute.
So as I was saying, certainly sensitivity, extra sensitivity to things like touch, sound, smell, the taste. That it's very hard for many people on the spectrum to be able to easily focus on one thing when there's all kinds of stimulus going on in the way of sounds and the way things feel. They can't concentrate on what somebody may be saying, or that they're supposed to be doing something because something's too loud, or they don't like the way the shirt feels on them. So sensitivity to the environment is something that they're tested for.
There's kind of a slight irregularity that kind of goes on in the brain that causes all these symptoms.
How they communicate
That
is
they're born
also
with.
something that's tested.
Yeah.
For instance, Ethan, that was one thing that was very hard for him. It still is, figurative language. So being able to understand the context of a situation and be able to interpret how somebody is saying something. And I'll give you a really interesting example. This was a cute one. I would come home from work every day. Ethan was 3 or 4 years old. And
I love this.
my
I wanna
daughter,
tell it.
my daughter and my then husband would almost always say, "Mom's home."
When she comes home. When
So-
she gets home, they're always like, oh, Mom's home.
He knew intuitively that I was mom,
Mhm.
but he took it literally. And
Mhm.
instead
Thought
of
your name
calling
was
my
home.
name, calling me mom, he called me home. Mom is home. Mom's home. So for years,
I thought
he would just call me home. And so when we took him to daycare, we had to let them know when he says he wants home, he's not asking to go home, he's asking for his mom.
Mhm.
And through therapy, we had to unfortunately correct that. We as parents were told to correct those sorts of mistakes. But
Aw, that's so cute.
most kids would understand from
Yeah.
the context of it, mom
Mom
is
is
home,
home.
and he took it differently.
Mhm.
So that would just be one example of how he would interpret different kinds of communications a little bit differently.
Victoria King is saying, I really love you for this because you have a beautiful and pure personality and inside your heart. You're as
Aw.
strong as a lion. I love you, Ethan.
Thank you
Oh,
so much.
I love
That's
him
so
too.
sweet.
And a lot of kids are asking things, like something like a haircut. Like does that bother you, a haircut?
Not anymore. In fact, I actually now find haircuts incredibly relaxing.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah,
But it used to be a
I almost fall asleep at them now. But before when I was like, but when I was
At
like
least 2 and 3 years old.
people would have like multiple people, 4 people.
Four people.
It took 4 people to literally hold me down.
Serious?
cut his hair.
While someone was cutting my hair.
I thought we were going to have him go through therapy just after he would get haircuts because they were so traumatic for him. We had 4 people that had to be there. One person would be cutting his hair. He would be sitting on my lap, and I would have my feet around him and my arms holding him down and my head against him to try and keep him still and not grabbing at things. There'd be somebody in front of him who was playing and trying to distract him, and then somebody holding his head still so she could cut his hair. And he was screaming to the point of almost vomiting.
Wow.
Mind you, this is
Really?
this is in a kids cuts place. So
Why
there's
did
all
you
these
do that to
kids
me?
and there's all these parents, and I'm thinking they're gonna kick us out and ask us to please never come back.
Child abuse.
And they had a long talk with me one time and just said, we have lots of kids on the spectrum who come in, and this is a normal thing for us. So you're not gonna be kicked out, and this is okay. We've dealt with it before. And over time, he just
Super chat. Sorry.
it just got easier for him. It just took some practice, but they were very traumatic. Brushing his teeth was very traumatic.
Oh my goodness, she would.
Thank
There's
you
a
for
super
all
chat.
you do for others and raising awareness. I help with a respite program for families with kids with special needs, which includes autism, from
Emory.
Emory Salt Lake
LC.
City Clay, or MSLC. Emory
Clay.
SLC's Clay.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you,
wow,
Emory.
thank you so much.
I appreciate what you do.
And yes, we do appreciate what you do, and thanks for bringing that up. Okay,
Well,
I'm sorry.
and
You can.
Did you say what autism was?
Yes.
Okay,
Well,
okay.
we talked a little bit about it.
Yeah.
It's
Not something. It's something.
It's
you're
not
born-
any one thing. There's a
Mhm.
whole bunch of different wide ranges of symptoms that people go
Mhm.
through, and they have to test you, and you have to have a certain number of them before you're given that diagnosis.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah, it is. It's not something you can gain. It's not something you lose. It's something you're born with, and you will have for the rest of your life.
And it's not transmittable. It's not like a virus. You can't catch it.
How hard was eating spicy foods for you? Because you do challenges, and they're
It was-
wondering how hard it
He's
is.
getting better at it though. He's been having more of these, and he can take it a little bit better.
having
at
more
practice.
salsa.
Yes, but he thinks ketchup
Baby
is spicy.
steps. Baby steps.
Do you get laughed at because of being autistic?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
That was from Billy Boy.
Sometimes
You
I'll kind
have
of tell
gotten
people
left.
I'll use my autism as an excuse for something, and I'll try and be honest with it because I'll be like, okay, I because of my autism, I'm going to be I'm going to be as much more uncomfortable as you are in this specific situation. We'll be like, ha, autism, good one, you'll be fine, that kind of stuff, and
There are a lot of
that
people-
sucks.
We don't understand it.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people are saying that they know people. My son has autism.
Oh wow.
And so many people are saying how awesome you are, and they loving that you're talking about this. Shara said, Ethan, you're beautiful in your own way, and
Aw,
you
thank you.
are pure, and it doesn't matter if they say anything hurtful to you. You're strong and brave.
Oh,
Thank you.
I have a request of you
Mhm.
guys. So we're on live now, and we're having this wonderful exchange and experience talking with people on a live chat. But this is going to get posted after this is over with. Will you please, if you are seeing this after it's live, if you know anybody or have experienced autism yourself,
Share
we
this
would
with them.
love to
Mhm.
share your experience in the comments. We love reading your comments about who you know and what your experience is with that. Any questions you may have, or what it's like for you if you're on the spectrum. Please,
And if you have
please.
any questions of how I cope with specific things and
Yeah.
maybe how you can implement that into your life, please
Other
feel free to
people-
ask. I'll look at all the comments and try to reply to as many as I can to
Other-
help you guys out who also struggle with this.
Other people read our comments at times too, and it's a chance for them also to feel like they're not so alone.
Mm-hmm.
So please do comment.
So it is 11:23.
So yeah, that was
And
that
I
was
want
a little longer, but
I want to
I'll have to be up here to end the live.
that's the one. So I want to invite you guys. Hi.
Oh yeah, we also got Karla, a friend of mine here.
Yes, I was in behind the scenes.
I love these two people
Aw.
so much.
So
You're my favorite people.
Oh,
Some of my favorite people. I have a
No,
daughter.
no, I am your favorite.
She is my very favorite. Sorry.
I don't really care if I'm your favorite.
So thanks for coming, Ethan. And then now Ethan is gonna be in my live that I'm gonna do
Yeah,
now.
we're gonna be doing it live on Karla's channel right after this. So
Now we were talking
around.
about, you guys were talking about autism, and so Mara and I were talking about other things that are difficult for teenagers, for children, and that is mental health. And I do have people close to my family or family members that I love so very much that struggle with mental health. And I'm talking about depression, anxiety. And so if you are struggling with it, come and join me, or if you know anybody, if you have a loved one that is struggling with depression and anxiety, come to my live. We're going to talk about it, because you know what? Hiding it is the worst thing you can do. The best thing you can do is tell someone you love, and that's how you start getting better, is talk about it and don't hide it, okay?
Ethan also has family members who have some of the same struggles, and he'll also be able to talk about his experiences with that too.
True.
So please go to Karla's channel. She'll be on live in the next 5 minutes.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys so
Thank
much.
you,
Don't forget to
guys.
like this. Hopefully,
Keep commenting after.
yeah, keep commenting after this live ends. All right. Thank you guys so
Thanks
much.
again, guys.
See ya.
Bye.
Good lag, guys.
Mm-hmm.